Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark has been named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. So the award, which has been distributed since 2019, Clark becomes the first WNBA player to ever win this award.
Karma faces instantly. The self-described drama queen of college basketball, Angel Reese, following Caitlin Clark's Athlete of the Year victory. Indeed, this is the same Caitlin Clark Angel who was infamously made fun of during the NCAA championship match. According to an article written by Amber Racken, Caitlin Clark discusses her rivalry with Angel Reese following winning the Athlete of the Year award from Time.
When I started my last college season and not knowing if that would actually be my last season, whether I was deciding to come back to college or turn pro, and now sitting here like I'm done with my first professional season and so much has happened, and whether it was, making the national championship game or getting the Fever back to the playoffs since 2016.
It all began at the NCAA championship when Angel Reese made sure everyone was watching her by making fun of Caitlin Clark in a manner that can only be characterized as excessive. The ring pointing, the finger gesturing. Reese made her own viral moment out of what ought to have been a celebration of her team's triumph.
But the fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special.
However, months later, Caitlin Clark is leaving with the kind of acknowledgement that really counts. Athlete of the Year is a statement rather than merely a participation medal. You are the best, it says. Time frame. Caitlin possesses something that seems to hurt much more than Angel Reese's championship ring. Respect for everybody.
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were.
It's not like Angel Reese didn't perform well this season. Yes, she was. Her influence was indisputable, and her statistics were astounding. However, Caitlin Clark is exceptional when it comes to transcendent talent. She does more than just get points. She is in charge of games. Her skill in reading the floor, making accurate assists, and draining three-pointers from. You can't take your eyes off her because of her ridiculous distances that Caitlin's supremacy wasn't about. It was about composure, technique, and consistency rather than ostentatious gestures.
I would say I really love those.
Let's not act as though this is unexpected. Caitlin was the obvious frontrunner due to her success throughout the entire season. For the prize, she essentially carried her team on her back, averaging more than 27 points each game, even in instances where Iowa lost. Caitlin was short and radiant. Angel's name is frequently mentioned, albeit not because of her outstanding performance on the court, but because of her antics. People's thoughts are disrupted when they consider Angel Reese. They resort to that now famous taunt in response to her defense or rebounds, and that's where the distinction is. Theatricals weren't necessary for Caitlin Clark to remain relevant. Her game was self-explanatory. Angel, she seems to depend on controversy as much as her skill. Additionally, even if that strategy could make you popular on Twitter, it doesn't gain you respect of the larger sports industry. Naturally, the internet was quick to comment on this development. Karma comes to life on social media, and the remarks were unsurprisingly harsh. According to one tweet, all of Angel Reese's finger-pointing was done merely to see Caitlin Clark win the title. Another person added, I guess Caitlin demonstrated her superiority without the need for a ring taunt. The memes? Yes, they are ruthless. Fans of Angel might attempt to defend her, but the story has already been written.
No, I think it's great, not just for her. I think it's great for the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like everybody talked about the recognition that she brought to the W this season. So for her to be Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, I think it's really great for the league.
What about Angel herself? She hasn't said anything yet, unusually silent. You have to question whether she is drafting. A reply, crafting the ideal phrases to downplay Caitlin's victory without coming out as overly resentful. To be honest, Angel has never been good with subtlety. Perhaps, though, she recognizes that there isn't much this time. She is able to say, this is Caitlin Clark being acknowledged as the greatest player in the game, not just another social media feud. Naturally, some of Angel's supporters are complaining. They are charging the system of prejudice and bringing forth previous arguments regarding Racial disparities and double standards that let's call it what it is. Though, this prize was given to Caitlin Clark. IT has nothing to do with politics or partiality. It has to do with performance. Game after game, Caitlin produced, and everyone took note.
I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then you continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
Not to mention the story that Angel attempted to promote following the NCAA title. She engaged in the game It's a Team. A card reminding everyone that the championship had been won by LSU. The problem is that individual talent is still important. Whether or not Caitlin Clark won a championship, her efforts were indisputable. This honor does not lessen LSU's triumph. IT only acknowledges that Caitlin was the season's most notable star. What makes this entire circumstance? Caitlin's response, or lack thereof, is even more delightful. She hasn't boasted or made fun of. And she hasn't even acknowledged the antics of Angel Reese that occurred months ago. She has remained modest, letting her skill speak for itself. Her victory is all the more worthy because of her grace. Caitlin remained concentrated on what she was doing while Angel was busy performing for the cameras. Football. Basketball is what really counts. Football.
She got the cookout, but when you hear that, thoughts on Caitlin Clark saying she wants to use her platform to elevate black women in the WNBA have been instrumental, obviously, in building that league.
This is not to argue that Angel Reese lacks talent. She does, but there's a distinction between being a skilled player and being a talent that spans generations. People will be talking about Caitlin Clark for years to come. Her fashion sense, she stands out for her accuracy and her capacity to rule under duress. Angel might have experienced a viral moment. However, Caitlin has left a legacy. Now, the question is, how will Angel react? Will she let this go, or will it become anything more? Another extravaganza with a lot of drama? History suggests that she will likely embrace the drama. After all, controversy keeps her in the public eye. The problem is that this isn't simply another argument on Twitter. As the greatest of the best, Caitlin Clark is being immortalized, and no amount of ring pointing or finger wagging will alter it.
Who has a new weekly podcast called Unapologetically Angel. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable. It's egregious. It's disgusting. It's wrong.
But the reality is difficult to deny, regardless of how Reese presents it. Caitlin Clark simply turned to leave. Receives a trophy that solidifies her reputation as one of the greatest. Reese may have gained temporary notoriety due to her viral moments. However, Clark's accomplishment is the kind that endures, and what makes this even more? Caitlin's quiet confidence throughout the entire experience is wonderful. She didn't have to retaliate against, get sucked into the drama, or watch Reese during the championship game. She allowed her performance to speak for itself. And she is currently enjoying the benefits. What sets exceptional players apart is their ability to remain composed under duress. From fabled ones.
You know, when you're talking about, athlete, you're talking about her college run.
Yeah, the run she had last year.
Her college run
into a rookie year to now, to date.
Yeah.
Yeah, the women's college tournament, I believe,
all the
significant
eyes she
outperforming.
brought to the league this year.
Yeah, outperforming the men's.
Oh, shit, yeah. You got to think, yes.
Yeah.
Right, as you know, when you say Asia, you got to be like, well, that's in a W. Caitlin was college and W.
Isn't it almost poetic? Angel Reese aspired to be the main attraction and the talk of the town. And she was for a split second. But now, as the dust settles, it's Caitlin Clark who stands tall, trophy in hand. While Reese is left to consider her next course of action, the whole story serves as a reminder that deeds speak louder than words. Remarks or jeers. Despite becoming a worldwide phenomenon, Reese's antics failed to earn her respect, or acknowledgement that is really important. However, Caitlin Clark demonstrated that talent, diligence, and humility are the essential to sustain success.
Angel Reese, you can't beat a big bad wolf, but then kind of cry like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Nobody mourns when the villain catches a L. And Angel Reese, you have self-proclaimed.
What can we learn from this? Then, it's a lesson in humility for Angel Reese, which she probably won't acknowledge. Learning in the near future. For Caitlin Clark, it's a moment that confirms her goals and validates everything she's worked for. Rank among the top. For the rest of us, it's an opportunity to witness one of the most fulfilling examples of immediate karma that we haven't seen in a while. During the championship, Angel Reese may have had the final say. Game. But the final laugh went to Caitlin Clark. And, to be honest, isn't that what matters most? In actuality, Reese has consistently positioned herself as collegiate basketball's queen. However, observing Caitlin gather, honors must hurt. Not just any award, though. This one emphasizes Clark's unique intellect, which he radiates when. Reese greatly depends on the accomplishments of her squad. The element of jealousy? You can feel it.
Caitlin Clark is the reason why everybody has an opinion on what happened in that game.
Caitlin Clark's inclusion on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list added fuel to the fire. Consider it, Reese. Despite her loud confidence and viral moments, she failed to make it. However, Caitlin, with her subdued power and performances that changed the game that will undoubtedly strike a chord. Forbes recognizes more than merely giving out spots for ostentatious gestures. Actual influence, potential, and impact. Clark's placement on this esteemed list further establishes her as more than a basketball player. She has the potential to become a cultural icon. Reese's story, meanwhile, seems stalled. In the past, while Caitlin is progressing, she is still identified by that championship game and her taunting moment. Creating a legacy outside of the court, let's not act as though Reese wouldn't want to be acknowledged. She doesn't hesitate to enjoy the limelight, but she must now watch Caitlin enjoy it. Being overlooked on the court is one thing, but seeing your opponent commended on websites like Forbes is quite another. It must be like salt in the wound. Caitlin Clark is demonstrating that diligence, talent, and modesty can triumph over showmanship. That conclusion must be as painful as it is inevitable for Angel Reese.